It wouldn't be far from the truth if we said the Turkish lira has seen better days, as the lira was at one point the best performing emerging market currency. But this will not seem the case, as the currency is tilting to be one of the quickest collapsing currencies in 2022. Foreign current debt has doubled, sudden increase in house rents, massive and ridiculous inflation in the price of goods and services, making it unbearable for people to get by. We caught up with the restaurant owner of Exile to discuss how he's able to stay afloat in this current crisis.
When the lira drastically lost value over the last few months, it affected our business in several ways. Of course, immediately the buying power of the lira changed dramatically, and on the one hand, many of the items that we have to buy to stock for our menu increased in price drastically, so that meant that it was more difficult to buy those things because our income wasn't increasing at the same rate as those prices were increasing. But also many of the items that we buy, especially the coffee beans that we buy to roast, are priced in dollars. So having to buy in dollars and sell in lira became much more difficult. Also, our rent is paid in sterling, in pounds. So we're paying rent in pounds, we're buying coffee beans in dollars, and all of our income, of course, is only in lira. So the difference, the relative difference between the lira and the dollar and the sterling also meant that our profit margin shrinks drastically. So just in order to stay in business, to stay alive, we had to then increase our prices. But also with general inflation and everyone else's prices and rents increasing, we also have to raise salaries. So having to raise salaries, having to pay more for products, having to raise our prices, that creates all kinds of instability, so we lose some business, at least in the short term, as people have struggled to buy anything, and then they recognize that the prices here are now higher than they used to be, and especially for the coffee, it's relatively higher than they could buy if they were buying lower quality coffee somewhere else.
In as much as prices are going up, the question is, how do businesses stay alive?
Yeah, in fact, we're trying to figure that out now. I mean, I don't think there's any secrets except the standard ways that you try to increase profitability and efficiency in a business. I've set up a meeting. In fact, for Thursday morning, we're going to sit down and work through the numbers. We need to go through all of our numbers again to figure out profit margins on the menu items, profit margins on the coffee, and what we can afford to pay our employees. Another way that this situation has affected business owners is that the government of North Cyprus has announced an increase in basic minimum wage by 40%, which is a very drastic increase. That's a lot of difference. So if we were to increase everybody's salary 40%, we can't afford that. So how do we keep pace with the government's requirements and stay in business or stay profitable? That's another challenge. So we're sitting down on Thursday to figure out how do we increase profitability in the menu items, so figuring out how to get costs down. Can we switch suppliers? Can we buy in bulk? Can we pare down the menu? Do we have to let some employees go so we can pay the employees the legal minimum wage, which we want to be able to do? So we might have to pare down the staff so we can pay what the government is requiring that we pay.
The question on everyone's mind now: what does the future hold for the locals, business owners, and international students in Northern Cyprus?